Hey everyone, Caricature here, and welcome to another episode of Pointy Chins, where I take you through my art journey. So, in this one, what I was trying to do was, there's this game called Black Desert Online, and I like the character creator, because, I don't know, the characters seem cool. I don't really care for the game itself, but I thought the characters looked all right. So I created a character and tried to draw the character that I created. So that was nothing much there. And here I thought, okay, let's try and have more fun and do things more caricature-y. Usually when I fall back on faces, it feels to me like I'm just, having more of a lazy day. It's like, I can't think of what to draw. I don't really feel like drawing. Let me just draw faces. But I'm starting to think in terms of like, well, is that wrong to want to draw faces? Maybe that's what I'm supposed to be drawing. So anyway, here's some faces, trying to push things. And then here, experimenting with different proportions. How do you make a bulky character? How small should the legs be and still maintain proportion? Trying to push poses here, for instance, like with a more animation-y thing. But I suppose it's still very forced. It's a lot of, this should work, I think, maybe, but not 100% sure. This character is based off Bob Meatbag. But anyway, I like this thing where you have a head and then you just sort of bring it into a body. And this is something he showed me, which is why I drew him. It's where you get the head, and immediately after getting the head, you connect it to the body. So, trying that out. And then here, some more drawings from reference. But I really wanted to caricature it. I didn't want to just do photo studies, because it feels like, what's the point? Where is me in it if I just copy a photo? The models didn't look exactly like this, but I tried to capture their personalities. Like, oh, this one has a big eyes. This one has a tiny nose and a big mouth. And, it's just an attempt to push things more. And here I was going back to original proportions, trying to, there's not much of an external oblique here. So that's not working really well, but, it is an attempt. Thinking in terms of shapes. So you see there's a basic shape, circle, square, triangle, and trying to push them. How do I push a circle? Oh, it gets more like an oval, and this gets more like a rectangle, and maybe it has pointy corners and, just different things you can do with them. And then trying to apply that to figures as well, try and push the shapes in a certain way. And this is something I did with... you can see here, for instance, there's this thing I've seen in anime where they sort of reduce the nose to the chin as a straight line, and then they put a mouth off to the side. So I thought, well, I'll start with that, and then I'll add a bit more detail in terms of where the nose actually goes and the lips and things. And here, it was a bit more pronounced, and here I went a bit more subtle, but it still sort of works. It's like, okay, it's a bit more information, because I found with manga and anime, it's very reduced often, but it's a bit too far for my taste. And what it does is it makes it a bit limiting. And that's just the side effect of simplicity. If you go too simple, you eventually end up losing some subtlety or some ability to show very, very subtle shifts. Whereas if you were going completely realistic, you could have very, very tiny indications of a form. Whereas in simplification, you tend to have to exaggerate everything to maintain that subtle expression. So, you almost have to go more dynamic just to maintain something, and yet you can. I don't know if this is making sense, but anyway, here I'm playing around with necks and how big they can get. And, again, overall basic shapes. Upside down triangle, right side up triangle, upside down triangle. Just thinking of these shapes. And then here, again, I was drawing using reference. Not sure what the site was, if it was Pixel Lovely or Quick Poses or something like that. But again, trying to caricature it, trying to get the energy of what's going on, but put a spin on it. You might recognize this guy if you've used the site because he appears very frequently. And then here, more sort of K type stuff, but playing around with things a bit more. I really like drawing big hands. I think that's something that I'm coming back to. I realized like big head, skinny body, skinny arms, big hands, big forearms, and big calves are sort of a proportion that I like. And sort of reminds me of an insect, actually. But anyway, I also tried to draw a bigger character with more fat, so that it's like, well, how does that work if you don't have such skinny arms? And just experimenting, I guess, as usual. And here I went back to crickets because I felt like, okay, let's go back to the basics, way down to crickets and playing with proportion. So here it starts pretty tame, I suppose. I mean, by my standards now, it's pretty tame. And then making it more skinny, just playing around with shapes more. You know, this guy's got really wide shoulders, really big neck, and big trapezius. Taller neck, skinny body. Just different shapes, you know. Here I'm getting a bit more loose. I like this one, you know, very big arms, tiny legs, seems to work. Trying to make the heads not just ovals, but different shapes, more boxy. Stretching things, pulling things, making them wide. Here I was going for the same thing as here, but just pushing it more and making the head more boxy and squished, so there's not a big neck. Here it's getting a bit ridiculous. You know, this guy's got super high arms going way up, shoulders, I mean. And then, I don't know if this helps or not. I think it does. I hope it does. But it's allowing experimentation to occur and surprises, because you never know. You never know what you're going to find. You might find a proportion you really like. Again, reference stuff, except this one, you know, it's just pretty much you put the pen on the page and just draw with one line. And yeah, here I really wanted to capture this, her going forward and him moving back. I don't think I got it perfectly, but yeah, trying anyway. Back to more K designs. I wasn't sure what to do about her outfit, as it's like it's close to this but not perfect, and something felt missing in this. I wasn't quite sure what, although I do like this one. That's quite nice. And see here I tried to draw more of a realistic E-ish one, and then one more pushed, although this feels like it's sort of melted. I've lost some of the form here for sure. So here I did K again, and then here I shaded in parts, and I felt like, oh, that's what was missing. It was the additional tone. Like, I was making her two-toned with the skin one color and then the clothing another color. And I felt like, no, I really need to bring in a third color. And in this case, black. And it's something I do like. I do like having black accents. And so that was the addition. And it's like, okay, that feels much better than this. It felt empty. And here's more of that, you know, single line, just draw. I mean, they just take a few seconds to do these. And I usually do them near the end when it's like I'm running out of steam. And here's some more figure drawings. trying to capture gesture and energy and push things and keep it so you're pushing the proportions, but they don't look wrong. And that's probably the hardest thing, is to make things exaggerated and yet feel like they are okay. And here I decided to add some of that black to Kay's hair, just make it dark. And kind of like this one. Don't really like this one, but I like this dude. He looks pretty creepy, pretty demonic. Here, just playing around with stupid. What if you take the eyebrows and just go crazy with them? And this guy trying to do crazy hair. This is another more like a black sketchbook drawing, but I'm letting those happen more and more, trying not to censor myself. This was actually for a student who was doing a pose like this, and I was trying to think of different ideas for how to get energy into it. Just some thumbnail things, my cat, and a scene, pretty generic. Just one of those days where it's like, I'm not sure what to draw. Maybe I'll just do compositional thumbnails. And here, I wanted to try using pencil, because I draw in my black sketchbook entirely in pencil, and I draw in my my Pointy Chins these sketchbooks pretty much in pen. So I just was curious what happens if I use pencil, and I kind of liked a lot of the things. I like how I can get softer gradients and things, and it felt nice, but it felt like I'm not sure I want to stick with this. So I kept going a bit more, and then I thought, it gets messy pretty quickly, and I got what I wanted, which is, will it look okay if I use pencil? And it's like, yeah. And then I thought, I still need to work on pen. So went back to pen. With pencil, I feel like I get too relaxed, maybe. Like it's not deliberate, because with pen, I can't make a mistake, so I have to really think. And with pencil, it's almost too easy in a way. Although I'm not saying like these are good or anything. Just, I don't know. I don't know what this guy is. Pretty frustrated, but this is nice. I like this one and this one. It's nice. Feels good. Good shapes. Here, just bringing in the marker or the brush pen to sort of block out these shapes. Basic compositions, trying to think more in terms of bigger shapes, have this big simple shape, but then tiny little shapes. So it's still, because they're the subordinate shapes, in this case the teeth are small, you get the sense of it's one shape, but actually it's more detailed than that. Wanted a figure with skinny legs, but a big upper body. Again, just playing around, this big square or rectangle shape, small rectangle shape, but overall it's one big rectangle, and then it's broken up in the silhouette. And then with larger characters, what I like to do, or what I tend to do anyway, is I make bigger hair, because it feels like it balances it more, where you have like a big shape, and then instead of a big shape and then a small head and nothing, it feels like big shape, small head, and then a bigger shape for the hair. It's something that, anyway, I like to do. And then here, try to figure out the neck. How far can the neck bend and turn and whatever. Super long neck. And here, it's just wanted to create a character. Gave her a big axe, thinking about the legs of Kay again, how they work. I like this character, but it doesn't feel like it's in the same world as this character, because I guess it's much more simple. But I like the expression. It feels like there's a life in there, and that's something I really want to get. sometimes I do characters like this and it doesn't feel that alive in a way. It feels not quite where I want it to be, whereas this one feels like, oh, you're alive, and then you are still a drawing, and you're definitely a drawing. But this one feels, no, you're outside of that a bit. This guy's kind of cool, I guess. And then on the figure drawing site, whichever one it was, you can also draw hands and feet. So I thought, okay, I haven't done that ever. So, I mean, with those figure drawing sites, I usually just draw my own hand from life. And it's like, it's okay. I didn't feel like I learned that much. I really feel like when you want to draw hands, the best way to go about doing it is to use your own hands as reference. There's something about being able to move and see how the muscles work and the bones and everything. And I just feel like you learn more when it's in front of you. I don't feel like this was a particularly successful day. More hands and feet, but these are from imagination. Let's see. Yeah, trying to do different poses. I'm not sure there's much here that's very good. Here, I guess I was just trying to draw a character turning. I think this is from reference. And trying to break down the planes of the torso. Didn't do a good job, so needs more work, but it was something. And I guess I'm pretty lost here because you can see how much I jump around from one thing to the next. But those are periods as well. I guess I have to accept that, yeah, there's going to be stuff like that. And by the end, I just usually like, whoa, what is this? What am I doing? And then here, I was really trying to think about shape, like a cool shape. And this one, you know, all the things are pulling upwards and it's got this expression. I don't know. And then this one, you can kind of see where I broke down the original big shape was this. See, there's like this big triangle shape, and then I broke it down into a open mouth. And then the same thing here, trying to create a big shape and then create the small details within it. And this one and these. I think this one's okay, but it seems pretty generic. I feel like I've seen characters that look like this before. I mean, not that that's a bad thing, but just, I don't know. And these ones seem a bit too forced, I feel. It's like you're really trying to get the shape down, but it shows that you're trying really hard. But I suppose it's still good for just practicing, getting mileage and telling your brain, this is what this is, and this is how it turns out. Kind of like this character and this one. Thought these ones were getting better. I think things are becoming more natural now. Some of the forced part it's still there at times, but it's becoming easier because I'm allowing myself more and more to just draw how I want. And maybe it's also a case of just the mileage of things might not seem natural at first, but then the more you do them, the more natural they become. For instance, this character feels, I mean, it's not perfect, but the proportions are starting to feel better. I took this helmet thing, and I tried to push it really horizontal. It almost looks like you went Control-T in Photoshop and just skewed it or scaled it, thinking about a helmet and just a design for a helmet for a superhero or something. I don't know. Marquet and just other things. And here, trying to do some more fluid designs. I'm not happy with this one or this one or this one or this one. It just doesn't feel like it's there yet. But this one felt better. Because, see, this one, it has a very restricted gesture. It doesn't feel like it has a good flow to it, but this one feels much more open. I don't know if these words are conveying what I want them to, but I don't know. That's a feeling I get. Like this works. This does not. Just characters. Spider-Man, I guess. And yeah, very loose, scribbly. And here, playing with proportions. I let them get pretty detailed in this way, but it's not how I intend to finish it. Like, what I mean by that is if I ever, use these proportions, I'm not going to draw all the muscles. But I want to do it at this stage when I'm still figuring stuff out so I know that it works within that. Like, does the anatomy fit in this figure? Because then if I want to minimize things and simplify them, that's fine, so long as it works and I understand it. Because I don't want to just create characters that they seem to work, but then it's just because it's cartoony that it works, because you can't really tell that it's wrong. But if you put anatomy on top, it's like, oh wait, that doesn't work at all. I think that would feel not very satisfying for me. Here I just wanted the guy to look like he's going fast. Gotta go fast. And it's a pretty funny character. All right. So again, playing with pushing shapes, getting a feeling of movement even in something that's not moving. And I feel like the way you get it is through almost direction lines. Like if you looked at this figure, right, you can almost imagine these lines radiating from a fixed point right about here, right? If you put a dot right here, then you drew a line, it would all stem from that point. Seems kind of bullshitty, like you're just making excuses, but this actually does work in terms of design, where you can follow lines and get energy from them, like a sense of rhythm and movement. And finally, don't like this one at all, but playing around some more, loosening up a bit. But this is one of those days where it feels like you're trying, you're really trying, you're not quite getting it because nothing feels really good. But again, that's all par for the course. So in the next episode, I'm going to try and, I'm not going to try to be less try hard, but I hope I will be less try hard and get things moving in the right direction. And thanks for watching.